The Disney Monorail, one of the most recognizable icons in all of the Disney parks. Right up there with the castles and Spaceship Earth in my opinion. And not only is it really cool to look at, but it's also one of my favorite rides here at Walt Disney World. You can get some pretty incredible views of Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and all around Disney property. Not to mention that it gave us one of the most famous sayings in all of Disney World.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
And with the rumors that new monorails are coming to Walt Disney World, I thought it would be a good idea to take a look at the history of monorails in the Disney parks.
The Magic Kingdom. This, of course, is the place that most clearly reflects the man Walt Disney.
Epcot Center, Walt Disney's greatest dream, is now a reality.
This is the Disney MGM Studios theme park at Walt Disney World in Florida.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner, and I am proud to join all the animals and characters in welcoming you to Disney's Animal Kingdom.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
So to start, we need to go back all the way to the 1950s when Walt Disney was in the planning stages of Disneyland. So just as a side note, there are two conflicting stories about when Walt wanted to first have a monorail system in Disneyland. The first story says that he and his wife Lillian were in Germany in the early mid-1950s, and that is where he saw a monorail train. And after him seeing the monorail, he had planned to have one in Tomorrowland for the opening of Disneyland in 1955. The other story is that he and his wife Lillian were in Germany, but this time it was 3 years after Disneyland opened when he realized that he wanted to have a monorail system at Disneyland. But either way, in 1958, Walt Disney partnered with the German company Alweg to help design and create his monorail system that would be coming to Disneyland. One of the reasons Walt Disney partnered with the Alweg company is because unlike other monorails that had a suspended track, Alweg had a single beam streamlined track. Walt thought that this unique style would look really great in his Tomorrowland. Walt had Alweg design the nearly 1 mile track that would go all around Tomorrowland in Disneyland. And he had one of his young Imagineers, Bob Gurr, design the actual monorail trains. And in just 3 weeks after Walt gave him the orders to create the design for the monorail, Bob Gurr came up with the streamlined design that we all know today. His design was inspired by the rocket of the 1930s Buck Rogers cartoon and a Boeing B-47 bomber. So on June 14th, 1959, the Mark I monorail opened at Disneyland. And when it opened, it was the first daily operating monorail system in all of the Western Hemisphere. Vice President Richard Nixon and his family were actually one of the first guests to be able to ride the monorail over at Disneyland on opening day. Walt Disney was a man who was always looking forward to the future and was hoping his new monorail system would not only provide a scenic view of his park for guests, but would also provide a solution for mass transportation. The Mark I monorails only operated for 2 years over at Disneyland, but today you can still find a tribute to them over at the Disneyland Hotel pool. Bob Gurr continued to work on and improve his design for the monorails. And in June of 1961, the Mark II monorails were introduced over at Disneyland. The Mark I monorail system had 2 trains, each with 3 cars. These new monorails added a 4th car to each train and extended the track to link Tomorrowland to the Disneyland Hotel. The Mark IIs were in operation at Disneyland until 1969 when the new and improved Mark III monorails came. The new trains once again added another car, making each monorail train have a total of 5 cars, with it being 137 feet. And there were a total of 4 operating monorail trains over at Disneyland at this time. But also around this time, big changes were happening around the Disney company. Walt Disney World was set to open of October of 1971, and a whole new Mark IV monorail fleet was coming, as well as a 3-mile track. The monorails were once again designed by Bob Gurr, but would be built by the Martin Marietta Corporation. And each monorail would cost around $7 million to construct. The new Mark IV monorails had a completely brand new design inspired by the Learjet. Over here at Walt Disney World, the monorail was truly means of a transportation for guests. When the Mark IV debuted, there were a total of 10 monorail trains, and each of them had 5 cars. and there were originally 2 tracks that it went on. The resort loop, where guests traveled around Seven Seas Lagoon from the Polynesian and contemporary resorts to the Magic Kingdom. And the express loop, which took you from the Transportation and Ticket Center to the Magic Kingdom. When Epcot opened in 1982, a new track was added to expand the monorail to the new park. During this time, many of the Mark IV monorails added another car to increase rider capacity. Meanwhile, back on the other coast in California at Disneyland, new Mark V monorails replaced the Mark III monorails in 1986. This new monorail fleet brought over the style and design of the Mark IV monorails from over here at Walt Disney World to California. A few years after the Mark Vs were introduced over at Disneyland, the track for those monorails was changed. A portion of it would now go over the parking lot at Disneyland to accommodate the construction that was going on over at the Indiana Jones Adventure. And then again in 1999, it was changed to accommodate the new additions of Disney's California Adventure theme park, as well as the Grand Californian Hotel and the downtown Disney district. Along with these changes, it added a convenient second entrance to Disneyland at the downtown Disney monorail stop in 2001. Now that brings us to the Mark VI monorails. The Mark VI monorails replaced the Mark IV monorails over here at Walt Disney World in 1989. They were built by the Canadian company Bombardier, and the new trains improved on widening the doors, increasing standing room height, improving air conditioning, and improving the communication system throughout the monorail trains. And if you guys didn't know, these Mark VI monorails are still the same monorails that are in use today over here at Walt Disney World. And so now that brings us to the newest edition of the Disney monorails, which are the Mark VII monorails over in California at Disneyland. And these went into operation in 2008, and they resemble the Mark III monorails, which were in operation for almost 20 years at Disneyland. New Mark VII monorails also changed the seating for guests, so where they face the outside towards the windows of the monorail for better viewing. Okay guys, that is the full history of the Disney monorail up until now. Though I have a feeling that new monorails are coming pretty soon, hopefully maybe for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World in 2021. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, keep up with all the new videos, and go ahead and follow my Instagram. It's @marcusq.mq. Like the video, share it with your friends, tell someone about it. Doesn't matter who it helps, share the channel, helps grow the channel. And we will see you guys on the next video.